Welcome, class. Hopefully you did well on your first Algebra 2 quiz, which was 4.1 to 4.3. And right now we're going to take a section and go over 4.4 and 4.5 notes. 4.4 and 4.5 is about factoring. And so the first thing we want to know is, what is a factor? And a factor is a number that evenly divides a larger number. So for example, if we look at the number 14 and we want to find the factors of 14, we're finding numbers that evenly divide into it. So for example, 1 and 14 and 2 and 7. And they would be our only factors of the number 14. Another vocab word that's going to come up is prime number. And a prime number is only positive factors are itself and 1. So just be careful when you're thinking of your first prime number. It is really 2, because the only factors that go into 2 are 1 and 2. Besides that, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, majority of the time you're odd numbers, but be careful because 9 is not a prime number. So now let's talk about a GCF. What is GCF? GCF is a greatest common factor. And if you remember anything from factoring back in Algebra 1, the first and most important rule of factoring is that you need to find a greatest common factor between any two integers, which is the greatest integer that is a factor of each one. That is what a greatest common factor is. You have to remember that when you start to factor, that is the first thing you look for. So for example, if I take the numbers 72, 108, and 126, I'm trying to find the greatest factor that goes into them. So all three of these numbers have a very long list of factors. For example, 72 has 1, 72, 2, 36, 3, 24, 4, 18, 6, 12, 8, 9. You might have to get a calculator. You might have to try all these numbers. 108 has 1, 108, 2, 54, 3, so on. 126 has all these factors. So when I look at these, I have to find the largest number that's between all of them. And what I look at, I think I can see an 18 here, I see an 18 in this one, and I see an 18 in this one. That is probably the largest number. So with that being said, my GCF of 72, 108, and 126 is 18. When I come here, this has variables, so I need to be careful. I need to look at it as 2 steps. My first step is to find the GCF between 16 and 4. 16's factors, 1 and 16, 2, 8, 4, and 4. And 4 is 1 and 4, 2, 2. So therefore, 4 would be my largest number. And when I look at exponents, and we talk about this x has 3 friends and this has 1 friend, you need to find the least number of friends that they both have. So this only has 1 friend. So that's the most it has between both of them. It's like the least amount of friends that they both have. So 4x would be my GCF. So now let's actually go into factoring. When I have an example here, okay, and I have 4x cubed plus 12x squared plus 8x, that's a trinomial, and I'm trying to factor it down into 2 binomials at the least. So the first thing I need to do, though, is find a GCF. And if I look at the numbers first, 4, 12, and 8, the first thing I do is try to look at the smallest number in the problem. So the smallest number is 4. Can 4 go into 4? Yes. Can 4 go into 12? Yes. Can 4 go into 8? So a 4 is my GCF. Remember again with variables, this has 3 friends, this has 2 friends, this has 1 friend. So the least amount of friends somebody has is 1 friend. So that's what I can take out of each term. Then I need to do my parentheses, and I need to put a trinomial back in here that if I multiply this times this, I would get this. So be careful. 4 times what would give me 4? 1. I don't need to write 1. And then I get x squared. 4 times what would give me 12? 3. Times what would give me x squared? X. And then 4x times what would give me 8? A 2. So does that ring a bell to some of you? Hopefully, you've seen this before. Now, what we have to be careful is I now need to check this trinomial, and I need to see if this trinomial can factor. And if you remember factoring, remember in ax squared plus bx plus c, a standard trinomial, we are trying to find factors of c that add to b. So when I come here, this is c and this is b. So I'm taking factors of c. Well, my only factors of c are 1 and 2. Do they add to 3? Yep. So I make 2 parentheses. And I know my factors are 1 and 2. Doesn't matter if I put 1 or 2 or 2 or 1. And then I've got to check my signs. I need it to be a positive, which means my signs can either be plus plus or minus minus. But because this is positive, the plus goes here. And this should ring a bell to you. And then that's my final answer, 4x, x plus 2, x plus 1. So let's do another one together. I look here, my numbers, 8, 24, 16. Again, I'm going to take the smallest number, 8, and I'm going to see if that goes evenly into them. And it does, so I'm going to take out an 8. I only have an a squared and an a. This guy doesn't have an a, so I can't pull that out from all of them. So my only GCF is 8. I then write my trinomial, a squared, because 8 times 1 gives me 8, minus 8 times what gives me 24. And then 8 times what gives me 16, and make sure to watch your signs. So again, I have a trinomial. In front of the a is 1, which just means I'm taking factors of c and seeing if they can add to b. So my factors of c are 2, so it's a 1 and a 2 again. That's it. But this time, I need these to come out to be a negative 3. So when I do my signs, a1 and a2, I need to check my signs. If I put plus plus here, it's going to add to a positive 3. So I can't use plus plus. But if I put a minus minus here, when I FOIL this back, negative times negative gives me positive 2, and negative 2a and negative 1a would give me this, give me a negative 3. Please note, you need to put the GCF back in your final answer. And if you wanted to, guys, you could always check yourself so that a minus 1 and a minus 2, when I say you're foiling, a times a is a squared, a times this is minus 2a, in here is minus 1a, here is plus 2. So as long as this comes back to your trinomial, then you're good to go. So you can self-check yourself on these problems. So go ahead, try this one on your own, and then we'll go over the answer together. Pause the video here, please. Okay, so hopefully you tried this on your own before coming back here. So GCF would be a 3, but what else do they all have? They all have x third, x squared, and an x. So at least all of these have one x, so I can pull it out. This is going to leave me with x squared, because remember, x times x squared gives me 3 friends, minus 2x minus 8. When I do this, I know that I need factors of 8. So 1, 8, 2, and 4. And that's it. Out of those, I need them to add or subtract to the number 2. So those are my factors. So I'm going to get x, 2, and x to the 4. And now I know this is negative. If this is negative, then I know my signs have to be plus minus. And in order to get a negative 2, I need the larger number to have the negative sign. So the larger number takes the same sign as your b. And then your final answer has your 3x out in front. Okay. One more together. I have a 4, I have a 4, I have a 24. Smallest number in the problem is 4. 4 goes into 4, 4 and 24, so I pull it out. That's it. They don't all have x's, so I get x squared minus x minus 4 times what gives me 24, 6. Be careful of 6, because you always have a 1, 6, 2, 3. And I'm trying to get a 1, so I know that these are my factors. This is negative, which makes my signs very easy. So I know I have x plus, x minus. And now I need this to come out to be -1. So since this is negative, the larger number goes with the negative. So that, and 4 would be my final answer. Please don't forget the GCF in your final answer, or I will have to take some points off. And then let's look at this. It's not a trinomial, it's just a binomial, which actually makes it easier for you, because after we find the GCF, that's really all we can do unless this is a minus sign, and we'll talk about that later. So when I look at numbers, 3, 21, what's the largest number? 3. That can come out of both, so 3 comes out. X squared, though, and x to the 4th. Who has more friends? Well, who has the least amount of friends? This guy. That can come out. So x squared can come out. So 3 times what gives me 3? And x squared times what gives me x squared, a 1. You need to hold that place value. If this is a binomial, you have to have a binomial in the parentheses. 7. And x squared times what would give me x to the 4th? Good. And then, because this is not a trinomial, and this is not a minus sign, there's nothing I can do. And so that would be my final answer. And that's okay. All right. On this one, I'd like you to do these two on your own. And then I'll come back and reveal the answers. So please try these all by yourself. Pause the video. Stop it here. Okay. Hopefully you pause the video. It's nice if you try things on your own. So when I do this, I'm going to pull out the 2 first as a GCF. I'm going to be left with this trinomial. I need factors of 10, which are 5 and 2, that are going to get me a +3, though. So make sure these signs are correct. Obviously, that is probably the hardest part, is your signs. In number 2, you have a GCF of just z, because that's all that can come out. So you're left with z squared, 7z, and 12. Factors of 12, that will get me 7, or 4 and 3. And I need to leave the z. So hopefully you know that. It's not like it's something brand new. You've seen factoring a ton in Algebra 1. And we'll continue to practice that later.